Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So this video I've been wanting to get up for you guys so bad, so that's what I'm doing today. This is actually like my third time filming this because we were just having like some technical difficulties. It was just stressful, and the first two videos Guillermo was in, so I'm really sad about that because he can't be in this video today because he's at work right now, but I promise he will be in the next one. But look who we do have here, Stinky. That's my baby. So we have a special guest, the most special guest of all, my son, Noel. And today, we're gonna be telling everybody how you got here. Do you wanna do that? So, let me just get right into it. From like the very beginning, okay, I was like 35 weeks. And one morning I just didn't really feel him moving, and which was odd because, well, for me, because he would usually always move in the morning, and that's how he would wake me up, because he would be kicking me. So I started to get a little paranoid because at like a certain point in your pregnancy, they want you to start like keeping track of stuff like that, which to me is just kind of stressful because I would always like be like, oh, I don't know if he moved as much today as he did yesterday and blah blah blah. But I feel like as long as your baby's moving, as long as you feel them move, they should be fine, you know? But yeah, he just wasn't moving yet, so I started getting a little worried. So I was like, okay, maybe he's still sleeping. It's fine. I'll just see like throughout the day what happens. So I eat breakfast and he's still not moving. And usually, you know, after you eat, sometimes when you're pregnant, it'll sort of give the baby some energy, so they'll start kicking you a little bit more. But he still wasn't moving. So I'm home by myself, mind you, so it's not like I have anything to keep me busy and not like stress out about it. So I'm pretty much just sitting there by myself all day, like waiting for him to move, and he still hasn't. So I'm really worried, and I call Guillermo and I'm like, hey babe, you know, I want to go to the hospital because I haven't felt him move. And he's like, okay babe, do you want me to come and get you and take you to the hospital? And I tell him no, because he was at school at the time and he gets tracked by his hours, so I don't want him to leave. So I called my aunt instead, and she said she would take me, so she came pick me up and we went to the hospital. Mind you, it wasn't my hospital, it was just like a closer hospital because I figured, oh, if something's wrong, let me just go to the closest hospital, even though I shouldn't have done that, but I did. So when I get there, I tell them what's going on, and they start like monitoring the baby and stuff like that, and they like do like tests and ultrasounds, all this stuff, which took forever. And then the doctor comes in and she's like listening to the baby's heart, and she's like, oh, something sounds off. She was like, it sounds like if the baby's heart is like skipping beats. So I'm like, okay, that's weird, because the whole time, every doctor's appointment that I've had in my pregnancy thus far, more than halfway through at 35 weeks, they looked at his heart and always have told me that everything was fine. So I was like worried, and she was like, I'm gonna keep listening to it, and if it doesn't change, I'm gonna want you to stay overnight. So I text Guillermo that I might have to stay overnight, and he gets out of school and comes to the hospital, and by that point the doctor already told me that, yeah, she wants me to stay. So I'm really upset because I don't know what's going on, and I have to stay in the hospital now, and I'm just like freaking out. So basically the night goes on and they're still listening to the baby, and in the morning she still claims that she's hearing the same thing. So she's like, listen, I want you to go to a hospital in Orlando. We're going to take you in an ambulance, and you're going to see a cardiologist so he can look at the baby's heart. And if everything's okay, great, you can go home. But if not, then you're probably going to have the baby today via C-section, and the baby might have to have like a minor heart surgery. And I'm like, she's just saying all this so casual. I'm like, what do you mean a minor heart surgery? Like, my son is preterm. 1, he's not even 40 weeks yet. 2, any baby, you don't want to have a surgery, any surgery, let alone a heart surgery, you know what I mean? So I'm like, oh my God, like I couldn't believe all this was happening. So I just sent Guillermo to the house to get our hospital bags, and I was like, all right, babe, I guess I'll meet you at the hospital. So they take me in the ambulance to the hospital. When we get there, they're like, oh, the cardiologist isn't here, we're gonna have to call him in. If he doesn't come in today, then you guys are gonna have to stay the night and see him tomorrow. But luckily, they called him and he came in, and he does the ultrasounds and everything, looks at the baby's heart, and he's like, oh, his heart looks great, it looks perfectly fine. I'm like, are you serious? Like, I don't know what the heck this other freaking doctor was hearing then. I mean, I was relieved, like, thank God. But at the same time, like, annoyed. Like, these people really made me take an ambulance all the way to a hospital in Orlando for the cardiologist to tell me that my son's heart looks fine. So I'm like, okay, great, we can go home. But no, for whatever reason, they want us to stay the night. And is that funny? So whatever reason, they want us to stay the night. And in the morning, I'm like, okay, great, now we're gonna go home. So the nurses come in and they're like, oh no, the doctor is giving like somebody else a C-section right now, and he just wants to check you out first before you guys actually leave, and it might take a couple hours. I'm like, no. My son is fine. I want to get discharged. I want to go. Like, I'm sick of being in the hospital for no reason. So they're like, okay, that's fine. All you have to do is fill out some paperwork to leave against doctor's orders. So that's what we did. And we leave, and he wasn't born that day. My son was perfectly fine. So our next appointment, my doctor was already saying that she might want to induce me because of the fact that the baby was just like on the smaller side. So I guess I had IUGR, which is intrauterine growth restriction. So, but she said that it might have just been because I'm on the smaller side myself. And yeah, so she wanted to induce me at like 38 weeks. So like the following week. So just that appointment, I had to get like my regular test done. I was doing a non-stress test. And basically they monitor the baby's heart when they do that. And every time they move, you have to press a button. And whenever you press the button, when they move, their heart rate is supposed to go up. And I guess it wasn't doing that for whatever reason. So I'm like, oh my goodness, here we go again. So the doctor's like, okay, let's just wait another 20 minutes. I'll come back, check the chart. And if it's still doing the same thing, we're going to send you to the hospital, my hospital this time, a one in Leesburg. And if he passed all the tests there, he's good. If he fails the test there, you're most likely going to get induced and have the baby today. So I'm like, oh my gosh, all right. So we leave, go to the hospital. Long story short, he passes all the tests because you're a bad boy and you stressing mama out. So yeah, he passed all the tests, luckily, thank God, and we go home. So by that, at that appointment too, at that doctor's appointment, we already scheduled my induction. She was like, if you pass all the tests today and you don't go into labor tonight, we're going to schedule your induction for next Tuesday, July 24th at 6 p.m. You have to come into the hospital. And I had to eat before I came in because I wouldn't be allowed to eat after that, after I go into the hospital. So yeah, that's that. So I'm just waiting for the next Tuesday, the following Tuesday to come to have the baby. So pretty much the night before, on Monday, I was just, girl, I was going through it. I was like boo-hoo crying. Like, I don't think I've ever cried this hard in my life. Like, seriously. It sounded like I was like laughing, like cracking up how hard I was crying. But one is because I was pregnant. Like, my hormones were like all over the place. I was emotional. Like, I just couldn't believe we were about to have a baby the next day, you know what I mean? So I'm like sitting on the edge of the bed, like bawling my eyes out. And Guillermo's like, babe, what's wrong? And I'm just like, I can't believe we're gonna have a baby and I'm scared, but I love you so much and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And it was because I was like looking at like the pictures of us on the wall that we have in our room and just like reminiscing about when it was like me and him and how like I'm excited we're gonna have a baby, but like scared at the same time, and I can't believe that it's here already. Like, I just feel like the day before I found out I was pregnant and then like he was already coming tomorrow. It was crazy. So yeah, that's how that night went, and I pretty much fell asleep. And the next morning I was more calm. I didn't cry. I was like good throughout the whole day. I was like excited. I was like, okay, yes, today's the day. Like, I'm gonna get this baby out. We're going to the hospital. So yeah, basically I just wait for Guillermo to get out of work, and then he gets out. Like I said, we went to go get something to eat. We went to Chick-fil-A for my last meal before I had this little one, and it was so good. So once we were done at Chick-fil-A, we got to the hospital, and pretty much once we got there, they were like, okay, here's the gown, just, you know, get undressed, change into it, and we're gonna give you some paperwork to fill out. So I did that, and then a nurse comes in and gives me my IV right here on my hand, which freaking hurts. If you know me, you know I am terrified of needles. I don't like them, and if you're pregnant, you know that you get stabbed like a lot throughout pregnancy. So you would think I would have been used to it by now, but no, I didn't get used to it at all. So yeah, they gave me my IV, and the night was pretty much not that eventful. Like, nothing really happened that night. So Guillermo was just sleeping next to me in like the sofa bed, and I was in the bed by myself, and it was just me and him because I didn't, you know, bother like telling my family, oh, stay with me all night, because I knew he wasn't really gonna be there that night. So yeah, but like every couple hours, a nurse would come in and like, I don't know, I forgot what the pill was called, but she would like break apart pieces of a pill and have to like stick it like up there. every couple hours, and that was just to like soften my cervix. So yeah, that was throughout the night. And then in the morning, my mom and my sister came, and his mom. And so they gave me this medicine called Pitocin, which is supposed to start labor, like start contractions and all that stuff. So they gave me that, and right away I start getting contractions, and they hurt like a freaking mother. They hurt so bad. So my nurse was like, all right, are you getting an epidural? And I was like, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Shout out to all the moms who can do it without one, because I give you props, because I don't know how you do it, seriously. But yeah, so basically whoever it's called, the doctor to give you an epidural comes in. You're being silly. And she's like telling me all about it, like all the risks, all the pros, all the cons, because they have to go over that stuff with you. And I was like getting scared. I was about to not even get it anymore. I was like, oh my God, like, is it even worth it? And Guillermo was scared too. Like, he told me after the fact. He was like, oh, because like they're like, oh, you could like die. Like, it's not common. It doesn't happen that often. But I'm like, girl, what if I'm that one? You know what I'm saying? So all that stuff, like, you can't move. You could like get paralyzed. This and that could happen. So I'm like, you know what? It's okay. I'm gonna be fine. You know, give it to God. I'm gonna get it. So you can only have one person in the room with you when you get the epidural. So Guillermo was in the room, and honestly, I was so scared about getting the epidural the whole time I was pregnant. I was like, oh my God, it's gonna hurt. It's like a big behind needle. But honestly, I didn't even feel the needle, because when you get it, they make you go in like a C position. Like, you have to like arch your back up as far as you can go with like your legs up and everything, so that they can like put it into your spine or whatever they do. And honestly, being in that position hurt more than anything. I didn't even feel the needle go in, none of that. Just being in that position, he was like under my ribs and like stabbing. So it was like hard for me to breathe, and the pain right there just hurt so bad. And I could not move a muscle, so I had to stay there for like a good 15 minutes. And that was the worst part for me for getting the epidural. But yeah, so once that was over, they were like, okay, it's probably gonna take like 30 minutes to kick in, and you're gonna be numb from the waist down. Girl, I was not numb. I felt pretty much everything. Like, I feel like it only worked for the left side of my body, but I could still wiggle my toes. I could like move my legs, all that stuff, and I could still feel most of my contractions. So I was like, oh my God. So they tried to move it and like fix the medicine. Sorry guys. You're just being silly. So they tried to like move the medicine or whatever it is that's in your back, and it didn't really work. So I was like getting nauseous and felt like I was gonna throw up, and the nurse was like, oh, that's a good thing. That's like a sign that the baby's probably gonna come soon, because most women, they get nauseous. That's what happens. So I'm like, all right, whatever. And then because earlier I had overheard the nurse saying to my mom, like, because I wasn't progressing or like dilating fast enough, I guess. And the nurse was like, oh, she's not progressing, you know, we're gonna wait a little bit, but if nothing happens soon, she might have to get an emergency C-section. So I'm just like, oh my God, like laying in the bed, like, please Lord, like, I do not want to have a C-section. So basically I'm just laying there like waiting to see what happens, and they come in to give me a catheter, because once you get an epidural, you can't really get up to go to the restroom. So they have to like stick this tube like up your pee-pee hole. And I don't know if y'all know, if you've ever seen down there, but that hole is pretty small, like very small. So I was like, is this gonna hurt? And they were like, oh, we do this to babies. And I'm in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, that doesn't mean it's not gonna hurt. But yeah, so they do it, and it hurt like a mother. It really did. So yeah, that was in, and again, still laying there trying to see what's gonna happen. And like out of nowhere, I feel like water, like if I peed on myself. So I told my mom, and I'm like, hey mom, can you check? Like, I feel like wet. Like, I don't know if my water broke or if my catheter came out and it's just pee or something. So she got the nurse, and the nurse comes in, checks me, and she's like, yep, your water broke. She's like, that's good. So they pretty much sit my bed up, and they're like, okay, we're gonna sit you up so that the baby can start coming down, and you know, you can start getting ready to push. So I'm like, okay, great. And so they gave me another medicine, since I had complained that my epidural wasn't really working and I was still in a lot of pain. And the nurse was like, okay, I can give you this, but it's probably not going to last as long as an epidural would, and it might make you like a little bit loopy. Do you still want it? So I was like, yeah, that's fine. So they gave it to me, and while I'm sitting up in the bed, I'm just like knocked out. Like, girl, I'm out of it. And last time Guillermo was in the video, he said that I was like saying stuff, and I was like, what? I don't even remember none of that. I just remember being so sleepy once they gave me that medicine and having my eyes closed the whole time, and like I opened them for like a second and everything was like going like this. I just had to close my eyes, and I was like, oh girl, no, I'm tripping. Like I just gotta keep my eyes closed. So yeah, I'm like knocked out. Out of nowhere, I feel like this drop, and I open my eyes like that, and I look at my mom. I'm like, I have to push. And my mom is like, what do you mean? The doctor's not here, you can't push. And I'm like, no, what do you mean I can't push? Like, where's the doctor? Is he at Disney World? Is he at the movies? Because he needs to be here. So the nurses are like, oh, he left because, you know, you weren't progressing, so he thought that he had more time, but we already called him, he's on his way. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like, you guys, I can't even describe the feeling to you. Like, you know when you have to poop and you feel like you're not gonna make it to the bathroom? Like that, but like 10 times worse, because it's not a poop, it's a human. So I have my legs crossed and my nurse is telling me to like breathe and make all these noises. So I'm like, who, like trying to hold him in, like trying to hold this baby in, because if I sneeze, he's gonna come out. If I cough, he's gonna come out. Because every contraction I had, I just felt him getting lower and lower. So I'm like, oh my God, like, these nurses are telling me that I can't push. Like, if the doctor doesn't get here right now, like, somebody's gonna have to hold out their arms and catch my son, because I cannot hold him for that much longer. So Guillermo said it was like probably 20 minutes we were waiting for the doctor, which to me, it felt like 20 freaking hours. So I finally hear my sister saying, oh, I see the doctor, he's coming down the hallway. So I'm like, thank God. So I asked the nurses, I'm like, okay, can I push now? Can I push? And they're like, no, you still have to wait for the doctor to get in the room and put on his equipment, yada, 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 all that stuff. So I'm like, oh my God, at this point, I'm getting like pissed off. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta push this baby out. So the doctor gets in. I'm like, you know what? Bump these nurses. I asked my doctor, can I push him out now? And my doctor's like, yeah, go ahead, I'm ready. So I'm like, oh my God, thank you. I push, boom, his head comes out. I'm like, oh my God. So I push one more time, and it's like his shoulders and like his body. So I gotta push a little bit harder than the first time. Girl, it freaking burned. It was the worst feeling of my life, the worst pain ever. But boom, his body came out. I pushed 2 times and he came out. Hallelujah. Because it was, I know some women. What happened, baby? Sorry guys, somebody was feeling a little left out. He's like, mommy, what about me? So yeah, my labor was really quick and easy, and my doctor said that I only tore a little bit, which I was really grateful for. I only needed 1 stitch, and my placenta came out really easily. And I know some women even have trouble with that because what is it called, like placenta accretia or something like that? I don't even know what I'm talking about. I think that's what it is. But sometimes like their placenta doesn't come out as easy, and if you don't know, that's very dangerous. So I just thank God that he came out really fast, that everything went good, because labor is scary, you know what I mean? And that's why, and that's why I'm making this video for you guys, to tell you guys about my experience, because if it can help any of you mamas that are expecting, that would be awesome. Comment down below if this video gave you some relief, that, you know, not every labor is like a horror story. Because honestly, as a first-time mom, that's what I was expecting. Like, everybody was telling me, oh, I ripped so bad, I tore all the way to my freaking butthole, and I was pushing for like 3 hours, and not all of my placenta came out, so the doctor had to stick his hand and like scrape everything else out, and that hurt so bad, this and that. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, what's gonna happen to me? So yeah, that's why I thank God that my labor was so easy. And like I said, I'm not bragging, I'm just want to let you guys know that it's different for every single woman. So if you're scared that it's gonna be horrible, it might not be. You know, it's not easy, and it does hurt. Trust and believe me, it hurts, but you can do it. You know, you can get through it. Yeah. And my postpartum was really good, healing and everything. My stitches healed really well. And yeah, that's about it. This little one, I was in labor for like 24 hours. I came in the night before at 6 p.m. and he was born at 6:19 p.m. And he was 5 pounds and 15 ounces and 19 inches long. And he's here, and I would do it all over again 1,000,001 times if I had to. Right, baby? Say thank you to everybody if they're watching. Say thank you. We love you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. All that good stuff. And we hope you liked this video. And we'll see you next time. Right, baby? Put that lingua in your mouth. Crazy. Give him a kiss. Give him a kiss. Say bye. Mwah.